a
Yeah.
bit, but I know someone was asking me to do something like, hey, yeah, just throw together some pictures of you and your friends. And I'm like going through them in like 2 years.
I know. Hopefully we're nearing the end, but we'll see. We'll see. What are you most nostalgic about when you think about your time on the Vampire Diaries?
Um, just, I mean, of course, I'm a broken record, but just the experience with the people and just feeling a sense of home. You know,
Yeah.
it was basically, I was there, I worked on the show for the entirety of my 20s. And so that is a special feeling when it kind of, yeah, I felt like I got pushed out of the nest. Like, obviously, that's a feeling you get when you're 18 and you're kind of like moving out of the house. And so when the show ended, I was like, yeah, it's time to get out. And then once you're out in the world, you're like, oh, that was so special. Like, you
Right.
know, that's what it felt like this really special kind of home for a long time.
Yeah.
And the free food, you know, let's not lie. Like, I love a free snack table. I
Oh
love a crafty. You know, I love at the end of the week when they're like, hey, does anyone need to go grocery shopping in the fridge? Because all this is going to go bad. And I'm like, I don't mind doing that. Like, I will help.
yeah.
Let me help you.
Oh, I get.
So
I'm the
it's
one
those little
filling my
things.
plate up in entirety.
Oh yeah, no, I get. It's like you have lunch, then you get the dinner box to go. Like a yes, that is.
Oh yeah.
I miss that, and getting like and having hair done every day, like the little things that you don't think of. You know,
Right.
like how do I brush my hair? I forget how to do this, and
Well, you're doing just fine. Um,
just
so, a lot of the viewers and the fans, you know, towards the end of the series, your storyline, right? Let's talk about how it all wrapped up for a minute. So, spoiler alert: if people have not finished, you might want to close your ears for 2 minutes, 3 minutes. A lot of fans thought you deserved better, and they were really bummed that you finally found love and that you could have your happily ever after, and then Stefan was ripped away from you, right, when he sacrificed himself. What were your thoughts on the ending?
I thought, look, I mean, the reality is that the trajectory of the show, you think it's this love triangle between, these two brothers and then this central woman. And then what I think was so beautiful is come to find it's a love story between these two brothers, really, who were at odds at the beginning of the series, and they find themselves in eternal life friendship and bond, at the end. So I really understand and loved, reading the script and knowing that that's kind of where it was going to go. But sure, like for Caroline, maybe would she have appreciated more time to plan a wedding? Yes. Maybe should I have gotten my hair re-highlighted before shooting said wedding scene? Probably. I had a 1-year-old baby. There was a lot of things going on. So probably my biggest regret for Caroline is she just didn't make it to the hair salon before walking down the aisle.
Gotcha.
Or maybe a light spray tan, maybe just a little shading.
A little glow.
Just a little glow. She was going through a lot. She had these babies. I was just very tired. So, I'm fine with, I know that Caroline deserved better. And I understand a lot of people are referencing that too, like Caroline and Stefan in their wedding. I'm just saying Caroline could have had her hair done and maybe a light glow spray tan. That's the justice she needs.
To ask for.
I don't think it is. Because that lives forever.
I know. Man. Oh, okay, all right. Well, if there's ever a redo, we know what to do.
Yes, exactly. If there's ever a reboot, it's going to be like, I'll only do it if I get to reshoot that whole sequence. We just got to fix the highlights a little.
I love it. Now, have you watched The Vampire Diaries in its entirety, or when is the last time you saw it? Like, a lot of people wonder, do performers and actors and artists go back and watch their work, or do they revisit it years later? Have you revisited it?
I haven't. The last time I watched it was when the finale aired, and
Really?
I watched it with my husband and my older stepdaughters, and so we all watched it together, which was really cool. They hadn't really watched. I don't think they still haven't really watched the series. So I think I'd like rewatch it if like the kids were watching it. But even then, it's a little weird. Like I think they tried watching it because their friends told them to, and then like by episode 2, like Caroline and Damon are like doing the dirty, and it's just, you know, it's like, you know, there's things you don't really want to see. So I don't know how like comfortable I'd be like sitting down with the fam and watching it. And then I don't think I'd just sit there by myself and watching it. I think that might be a little weird. But back in the day, when it was like season 1, yes, we all probably watched it more than just because we were all excited and we're young and, you know, just want to see how it's all coming together. And, but yeah, that's probably, that's the last time I watched it, was the finale.
Do you see, for the sake of nostalgia, you ever returning to where you filmed the show in Georgia and just showing your family around and living?
Probably. I'm trying to think. I was there. Why was I there? I was there for something. I think I was visiting a friend for something, because I still have a lot of friends there. And it was when Black Lightning had taken over our stages. And I just remember being like, whoa, this is so crazy. How different, just like how quickly what was so normal and familiar to me just became like, oh, this isn't here anymore. This isn't Mystic Falls anymore.
Wow.
But yeah, like I think it would, my 5-year-old is like just catching on now that like my husband was the cool one, because my husband's a musician. And so when we were on the Apple TV once, she saw something and then she was like, is that Daddy? And it was like one of their record covers and it was all their music videos. So Daddy was like number 1 because Daddy was on TV. And so she's just now starting to ask, like, when people say that they've seen the show, she's like, what show? Like, what are you talking about? Like, Mother, have you been keeping these secrets from me?
Oh, that's really cute.
So maybe at some point, and I know there's where we used to film is an area in Georgia called Covington, and it's this Covington Square, and they actually have where we used to use as the exterior for the Mystic Grill. They've created an actual Mystic Grill, and so it's a whole Vampire Diaries themed restaurant that's made to look like the Mystic Grill, and then they have a whole store. And then I guess there's this driving tour where you go and you can see all the exterior houses that we used to film at. So like that would be wild to see at some point. I don't know if I'd like go anytime soon, but I don't know. But
that's crazy. I mean, think about what you just said. Not every show has a restaurant replicated after, you know, what's been in the series, because it's such a fan favorite. Like, that's wild to think about, right?
It's very, very wild. Yes. No, it doesn't. Because we also, I mean, we were filming at a time where we were there 9 to 10 months out of the year. We didn't leave very often. You know, I never left. If I wasn't filming in Atlanta, then I was traveling every summer. And if I wasn't traveling, it meant that I had met my now husband. And so I was just traveling with him. So I didn't spend a lot of time, like, there weren't like a lot of events and things to remind you, like, hey, you're on this show that a lot of people watch. It was always like it's still very shocking to me that anyone's like, you were on a show? And I was like, people watch that? Like, that's it. Like, we're talking about this right now because enough people have watched it? That's crazy. Yeah. I thought I was just hanging out and making really cool, fun, you know, things with my friends. But yeah.
Watched it and were so incredibly touched by it. And actually, when I was doing a little research, I kept seeing a very common theme in terms of what people were writing about what Caroline meant to them. And I'm going to read you something, because I thought this was really, really, really cool. And I saw a lot of versions of this online, worded differently, but this one I thought was beautiful. Somebody wrote, whether you're a vampire or a human, everyone can relate to the way Caroline dealt with and eventually overcame her insecurities, particularly her fear of never finding that one person who would make her a priority. I thought that was really, really cool. So many people can relate to that, right? So
yeah.
when you hear that, I mean, and what you gave to people, how does that make you feel?
For me personally, I just felt like I was I was privileged to be a vessel of all the writers who were writing the show. I mean, I feel, I mean, obviously after a certain amount of playing, you know, a character, it becomes very blurry, you know, because you start to see parts of yourself in the character, which the writer, you know, most writers in a long running series self-admittedly go like, oh yeah, we noticed that this person you know, does this well, so we kind of play into that. But the fact that there were so many things I was always so scared to do, and the writers put it on the page, and I, you know, were like, it's time to rise to the occasion. Whether it's, you know, long soliloquies and speeches and, you know, Caroline standing up for herself. I feel like I learned just as much from her as, you know, anytime I hear anyone, you know, comment about what they learned from her. I can relate to that. So I appreciate it. It's such big, beautiful feelings to take in. And then I hold on to them for a second, and then I like pass them to Julie Plec and the writers of the show, because I feel like, you know, I just feel so grateful that I was able to play a small part in the character that they developed.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I just love when people can so connect to someone that was created by an artist. I think that it's a beautiful thing, especially in this day and age when people want that connection more than ever. I love it. So you're just inspiring everybody. Now, I want to get to two more fan questions. So these are some fan questions that were DM'd to me, and I try to pick ones that I feel like perhaps you haven't answered a million times, and the ones that I saw that were the most popular as well. So the first one was, if you could go back and shoot one episode all over again from the entire series, what would you pick?
I mean, this is the same answer. It really bothers me that I did not get my hair done before this finale. Seriously, I mean, the roots they're just thick. They're very thick blonde roots. Like, I'd had a baby within that last year. You know, as a woman, your body goes through a lot. So a dress that really fit me 1 month did not fit me. And it's so like surface level, but like, you know, it's the finale of the show. And I know that sounds so silly, but like, yeah, I would go and get my hair done before that series finale. And just wake my butt up a little bit earlier and go do that. And it was just a really fun, I mean, more importantly, in reality, it was just a really beautiful episode to film. You know, it was very emotional. There were a lot of tears. There were a lot of special dinners. You know, the very last scene, they made sure that it was Paul and Ian filming it. This is all on video in some featurette, but you know, we all had these like confetti poppers and ran into the set, and they left the camera rolling, and we just, you know, threw confetti everywhere. And it was just a really beautiful experience. So I feel like, if anything, I would just relive like the bookends of the show, whether it was the first episode or the last episode.
Amazing, amazing. I love that. Now, this is a question I know you've answered, but it's probably been some time since you've answered it. So a lot of people are curious on, what do you think I'm going to ask you?
Well, but something with Caroline?
With the legacies.
Oh, okay.
any more updates with that?
No more updates, but it's always there. I've actually recorded a few phone calls. I mean, we've talked about it all the time. It's not like it's not in our conversation. And by we, I mean Julie Plec and myself. And I love it. I actually got to moderate the Legacies panel at Comic-Con in 2019. So I am Team Legacies. I'm all for it. Unfortunately, just with timing, it was like, oh, and now there's pandemic, or and now I'm pregnant again. And so there's just been a lot of life circumstances. In the back of my head. Sorry if it just turned out I had a spam call coming in, but I just had
I got you. That's amazing, though. I think people are going to be psyched to hear that, and it seems like you would be down to, you know, be a part of that in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And do they shoot in Georgia?
They do, yeah. They film in Atlanta.
Oh, okay. Not a far commute.
Not a far drive. Nope.
Next question. A lot of fans were wondering if you're going to do future conventions, because so many from around the world still want to meet you and see you in person. So are conventions an option for you in the future? Yeah,
I know. I actually was signed up for a bunch, and just unfortunately, just it's a time for me of needing to stay home. You know, I want to be able to say hi and meet everyone in a way that, you know, we all feel comfortable. And so for me, that's kind of staying home a little bit longer. But I would love to do conventions in the future. And it still is shocking to me again, that we're even having this conversation 12 years after the show started. It's always incredible to be in an environment where, you know, you get to actually meet people that get to share with you why the show impacted them so much. And again, but I'm a fangirl. I love TV. And so I understand wanting to, it's a fun experience to celebrate a fandom.
Yeah, for sure. Two more questions. What was the very final scene you filmed?
I was with Kat Graham, and I was wearing a wedding dress, and we were in a burning house. And I can't remember if we had the two littles, if we had my TV daughters with me. But I know Kat and I were the last ones to film together, which was really special. I can't remember if she had a scene afterwards or what, but I'm pretty sure that was the last scene. Yeah.
And then as a follow-up, what was the final day on set like for you when you wrapped? What did you do?
What did we do? I'm trying to think if we went to dinner that night. I probably did. Yeah, we probably went. I mean, I still had a baby at the time. I had a 1-year-old, but I also know that I made sure that I was able to go and drink copious amounts of delicious wine with, you know, the people I'd been fortunate enough to work with for the previous 8 years before that moment. So, probably, I think it was somewhere with wine. There were so many really special dinners, and some that I think I just invited myself to. It was like a production dinner, and I was like, "You guys are going to dinner to cry about the end of the show? I guess I'll see you there. Goodbye." No invitation, it's fine. I'll just squeeze my chair right in. I just could not get enough of like needing to just cry and make toast, and some of them were bad and some of them were great. So that's why I had to go to as many dinners as possible to kind of like, you know, amp up my my toast giving skills. But yeah, it was really special.
That's amazing. I imagine that's a lot to come down from. Like when it's all said and done and you have a few days or a few weeks to kind of process it, it must be like, I don't know, like a weird weight that's been lifted, but not in a bad way.
It's a process. It's interesting. I think it's what I hear. Obviously, it's not retiring, but it's like you're so used to the same people and the same. It's a big deal, and it doesn't matter what industry that you're in. I think anytime anyone either changes the course in their careers or kind of moves on to another job, or retires, it's more of an emotional experience than you think it is, even if you're ready for it. It's just, I mean, obviously it's the only time I've really experienced it. It was interesting. I really find it fascinating watching like series finales or everyone's like getting together. Like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air did one, and then the Friends reunion, and like Game of Thrones had like a fun finale episode special thing. And like it's like very emotional in a different way, because it's like you can relate in certain ways of just like you kind of are all shoved together in a weird way. Like you're not, you know, you're kind of placed together as this cast and this crew, and you're there for a really long time, and usually you've gone through a lot of personal life experiences together, but it's a very interesting experience. I've really enjoyed watching all of these reunions and seeing cast come back together.
Well, and speaking of reunions, I saw a lot of people hoping for like a 15-year or 20-year reunion from you guys, so you never know, right?
You know, I mean, we see each other. I'm like, between, you know, conventions when we are lucky enough to see each other in beautiful cities all over the world, or even just in someone's backyard. Like, that will be very, very fun. We all keep in touch, I think, more than you would think we would, even though it's not like a daily basis, but we're all kind of plugged in at some point or another.
Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, now before I let you go, I have a few like non-Vampire Diaries fun Candice questions to ask you.
Oh, man.
I'm very interested in things like, number one, TV show you're currently binging.
Ooh, I just started the other two. Well, I didn't just start. I'm like in season 2 of the other two, which
Love
is
it.
Fantastic.
Obsessed.
So funny. Obsessed. Obviously, Ted Lasso is just a gem. what else? I mean, I'm very into I'm very into Real Housewives right now. I just think it is spectacular television. Salt Lake City is just, I mean, it's with the legal drama with like the just like Real Housewives drama. It's just, I mean, incredible. It's award winning. I also love like Lula Rich. I don't know if you've seen that. It's like a Love and MLM docuseries. It's very good on Amazon Prime, I think. And what else? Yeah, I've been, and then obviously in like the whole American crime story with, yes, I've been watching that, the current season of that, and just watching too much television is what I'm realizing. That's what I've been doing.
I'm with you, and I'm such a Housewives fan too. But Beverly Hills is my jam.
Oh man, I mean, I'm scared to like say anything, but I have so much to say.
We might need to talk offline about it.
I think I know. It's just there's so much to dive into. I'm like, was it snowing? Was it snowing?
I don't know.
We got to check the weather reports. We got to check the weather reports.
We're going to hit that on a different day. What are you currently cooking or making at home or baking? Like, what's your go-to?
Tonight, I'm making, it's so exciting, guys. I'm making brown rice chicken teriyaki bowls with miso glazed sweet potatoes and veggies. Yep, very exciting. Okay. And then tomorrow I'm making tacos and I hand press my own tortillas, which is very fun. I love to cook and I definitely have to plan it out ahead of time, but I do a lot of cooking.
Well, I mean, I'm sensing there might need to be a new kind of content-driven thing in the kitchen. Candice in the kitchen, come on.
Maybe, I know. It's like, no, I feel like there's so many others that do it very well, and I don't know. But maybe you're convincing me. We'll see.
Yeah. Very important question. Are you a red or a white wine drinker?
I am impartial. I drink all of it. I'm an all wine drinker. Okay. The only one I don't get down with is maybe a Moscato. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a sweet wine drinker, but like, I got a Pinot in the fridge. I like a cold Pinot Noir. I like it chilled. You know, I got to pop the Sauv Blanc in the freezer for about 20 minutes before I pour a glass. Like, yeah, I love wine.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Last question. What are you currently listening to music-wise? What's like your go-to album or jam?
Honestly, what I probably listen to most right now is JoJo Siwa's new CD because my 5-year-old is obsessed with her. So every day we listen to JoJo Siwa, and because she had a movie out recently, and I gotta say, I'm Team JoJo. I am all about JoJo.
And let me tell you, I listened to JoJo on Demi Lovato's podcast. Great. Mm-hmm. She gave a great interview.
I'll have to check it out. I know.
It's good. It's good. And speaking of podcasts, how's your podcast going?
It's great. It's great. We actually have a great episode with the founder of La La Land Kind Cafe. It's really great this week. We've had really fun episodes lately. So it's called Directionally Challenged. You can find us on our Instagram at Candice Kayla. I do it with also fellow Vampire Diaries alum Kayla Yule. And we take on subject matter that we just want to know more about every week, whether it's a philanthropist or, you know, a female astronaut or you know, what's just anything we can think of. We usually want to find someone who specializes in that subject matter who can teach us more about it. So you get to learn something new every week.
It's fantastic, and for everybody listening, if you haven't checked it out yet, I found it at the gym, because I listen to a lot of podcasts when I work out, and that's, for those watching, how I met you, and Kayla, I had you guys on to talk only about the podcast.
Yeah.
Because I love podcasts, and I think what you guys created is so genius and so fresh and original, and not everybody can do the podcast game, and you guys do it really well, so everybody has to check it out.
Well, thank you. And I love that you're still doing this. That's why when you were like, we were catching up and you were like, hey, you want to hang out? And I was like, yeah, I love that you're still, how many episodes have you done?
Man, it's been over like 110. And, you know, I try to do one a week now because I'm back to filming Rachel Ray and Today and all the other stuff I do. So, but I want to keep it going. You know, I know the fans love it and I want to bring them the people that brings them joy. So it's important for me to commit to 1 episode a week. I actually have someone on Friday. I'm doing 2 this week. I guess I'll do a spoiler alert. Daniel Gillies is coming on.
Oh, that's great.
Because he has a new movie coming out, so we're going to talk all about the movie and some other stuff. But yeah, I'm trying to do 1 a week just to keep something joyous out there,
I get it, man. I get it.
Yeah.
We can't only rely on JoJo Siwa to bring the joy. We got to find it within ourselves as well.
I wish we could, but no, we've got to do our own things. And Candice, oh my God, I can't believe I haven't met you in person, so I feel like
I know.
I'm
like, one of these weekends, I'm just gonna like show up in New York and be like, hi.
Yes, we'll have all the wine ready. You'll meet my husband. You'll
Yay!
love him. Funny story before I let you go about your husband. My senior thesis at NYU, I had a film class, and I had to create a movie to music, and formulate a whole story around it. So in the movie meaning like 3 minutes and 45 seconds, was to the phrase "How to Save a Life."
Oh my gosh, I love that.
And it was like a relationship story. So
yeah,
funny full circle little moment.
I love those full circle moments. Yeah, the phrase song "Never Say Never" was like the song of the pilot episode of Vampire Diaries. So it was very, very full circle when we started dating. We're like, wow, this is crazy.
Oh, I love that. And Candice, for all the fans watching, before I let you go, what do you want to say to everybody?
Thanks for hanging. This was very fun. And I'm so sweaty from these ring lights. They're a blessing and a curse. And
I need my oil blotter.
I'm gonna go towel off and have a fantastic day, guys. It's a Tuesday. We're just creeping into the week. So, thank you for having me. This is always so fun.
Thank you for joining. For everybody watching, I'll post this right after to my feed so you can watch it 1,000,000 times or catch it for the first time. And Candice, I hope to see you soon.